In 1985, a small bakery located in the heart of Boston City Morris Pie Shop. From morning to evening, the bakery became a beloved spot for the city dwellers, filled with the enchanting aroma of pies. People of all ages, from young to the elderly, came here to savor the pies and find joy in their day. However, there is a secret history tied to Morris Pie Shop, one that is not just a story, but a curse. The elderly say that Morris Pie Shop was not just a bakery. It was once the center of a deadly incident. 20 years ago, on a dreadful night in 1955, a strange, sharp aroma of pie spread through the winter air. On that day, a terrible fire broke out in the city. The bakery was destroyed, and amidst the wreckage, the charred body of its owner, Morris Teller, was found. It is said that after Morris's death, his soul never found peace. Strange supernatural events began to spread around the city. Those who had smelled the pies he made mysteriously died, one by one. Some still consider these events mere coincidences, even after 20 years, but the local elders know that behind Morris Teller's death lies an eerie curse. And now, 20 years later, Morris Pie Shop has reopened in a new form. But will its aroma bring only joy? Or will death once again consume the city? The newly reopened Morris Pie Shop has once again become the center of attraction in the city. Every day, people are flocking there. However, just a few days after the shop opened, strange events begin to occur. The locals start whispering again about the mysterious connection between the aroma of the pies and death. At this time, a group of young individuals arrives in the city. Leading them is Clara Hansen, an ambitious journalist. Clara writes about the city's old stories, and the cursed history of Morris Pie Shop presents a unique opportunity for her. Along with her are 4 others: Mark, her intelligent friend Ella, a researcher interested in the local history of the city, Tommy, the group's brave adventurer, and Lewis, who is skilled at solving mysteries through mathematics and logic. Their curiosity is piqued when, shortly after the new pie shop opens, 2 mysterious deaths occur. First, an elderly woman dies while eating a pie in her home, and then a delivery worker dies for an unknown reason while supplying pies, suffocating unexpectedly. Clara and her team realize that these deaths are not coincidences. Something is seriously wrong. They begin their investigation and find an old newspaper detailing the terrifying fire of 1955 and the death of Morris Teller. It mentioned that before his death, Morris had repeatedly screamed, "My pies have been stolen. No one will survive." Clara and her team, searching through old local records, discover that years before 1955, Morris had faced fierce competition in his business. Rumors circulated that the other bakery owners in town had conspired against him. During that time, Morris had claimed that his pie recipe had been stolen. But the most peculiar discovery they make is the existence of a subterranean part of the Morris Pie Shop. Locals say that Morris had hidden something secret beneath his bakery, something that no one has seen since the fire. Clara decides that the team must uncover the bakery's hidden secrets. Little do they know, this investigation will lead them into greater danger than they could have ever imagined. One evening, they all gathered together to enter the bakery's locked room. At that moment, the familiar scent of pies filled the air. But this time, the aroma carried with it not joy, but an unknown, chilling fear. Clara and her team ventured deep into the old section of Morris Pie Shop in the dead of night. They secretly reached the underground room, where piles of burned wood, ashes and remnants of old equipment lay scattered. In the center of the room, they found a damaged table, and on top of it, a charred thick book. Upon opening the book, they discovered it was Morris's personal recipe book. However, the pages were not just filled with ordinary pie recipes. Next to each recipe were strange symbols and incantations written in an unknown language. Ella, who had studied ancient history, realized these were not just recipes. They soon realized that Morris had used a special ingredient in his pies, an ingredient that was anything but normal. This ingredient gave the pies their unique aroma and, through its influence, caused the death of those who consumed or even smelt them. Ella read aloud a page from the book. "For those who have betrayed me, I have created this curse. Whoever steals my pies will meet death in its scent." They discovered that after his pie recipe was stolen and his business destroyed, Morris became so desperate and enraged that in his final moments, he infused his recipe book with incantations, cursing the pies. Clara realized that the current deaths in the town were a repetition of that curse. The new owner of the shop, unknowingly, might be using the cursed recipe, which allowed Morris's spirit to continue seeking revenge. However, a bigger question remained. Had they truly uncovered the curse's true origin, or was there still something more hidden deep within the mystery? Another danger loomed before them. The air in the underground room suddenly grew heavy. The sharp scent of pies wafted through the space again, and in an instant, the candles in the room were extinguished. In the darkness, Tommy heard a chilling voice. "Leave. This place is mine." After returning from the underground room, Clara and her team were terrified, but they didn't stop. The mysterious incantations in the book and Morris's cursed recipe only made them more curious. However, their fear grew when more mysterious deaths occurred in the city. First, the owner of a restaurant died of asphyxiation after eating a pie for an unknown reason. In another incident, a young woman fainted just from smelling the pie's aroma, and later, her lifeless body was found. They realized the deaths were all linked to the scent. This wasn't an ordinary smell, it was a supernatural force that slowly turned people into victims. From Ella's research and the clues in Morris's book, they learned that a special ingredient was the key to the mystery of the pie. This ingredient was a unique spice that Morris had made himself, but it wasn't just any spice. It was connected to something ancient, a strange mixture that awakened the spirits of the dead. Morris used this ingredient to destroy his competitors, but after his death it became the source of the curse. It wasn't just those who stole his recipe that suffered, but anyone who encountered the pie's scent was doomed to die. They discovered that those who encountered the scent of the pies experienced death in 3 stages. 1. First day, after inhaling the aroma, the person feels an intense cold and their body gradually weakens. 2. Second day, they become confused, haunted by strange dreams. In these dreams, they see a dark room where pies are being made, and a shadowy figure staring at them. 3. Third day, the victim dies suddenly, with no signs of injury, but the strong scent of pies lingers around their body. Mark, Tommy, Ella, Louis, and Clara became deeply concerned about their own lives, as they had all smelled the pies in the bakery's room. Were they also about to become victims of this curse? One night, Mark suddenly wakes up from a nightmare. The familiar scent of the pie fills the room. In panic, he opens the window and looks outside, but sees nothing in the darkness. A few moments later, there's a sudden knocking at the door. When Mark opens it, he sees a shadowy figure standing there. The figure slowly approaches and says, "Leave. Escape Morris's curse." Mark screams, but in the next moment, he collapses onto the floor. The intense scent of pies lingers near his lifeless body. His death sends a wave of fear through the rest of the team. They realize they have little time left. If they want to escape Morris's curse, they need to act fast. Clara decides that they must now analyze every incantation in the recipe book and uncover the real cause of Morris's death, because as long as the truth remains hidden, none of them will be safe from the curse's grip. Mark's sudden death filled the group with terror, but Clara refused to back down. She was determined that if the curse was to be stopped, they had to uncover Morris's past and the true mystery of the recipe book. However, time was running out. After Mark's death, Clara and her team met with an elderly priest in the town. The priest was well versed in supernatural occurrences. When Clara handed him the recipe book, the priest was immediately struck with fear and said, "This is no ordinary book. It has the devil's touch." The priest explained that Morris had not only been betrayed, but his anger and despair had pushed him toward darkness. He had used ancient incantations and satanic powers to curse his pies so he could take his revenge. The curse would only end if Morris's soul was freed and the true cause of his death was revealed. The priest also told them that on the last page of the recipe book was the incantation that could break the curse. However, to read the book safely, they had to follow a specific ritual or they would face danger. Clara and her team realized that to solve this mystery, they would need to return to the underground section of Morris Pie's shop. The priest had told them that Morris had created the cursed ingredient for his pies in the underground room, and that place was the center of his rage. They learned that the bakery's current owner had some information from the old janitor who had worked at the pie shop until before the fire. The janitor shared a mysterious detail. On the night of the fire, he had seen Morris enter the pie-making room alone, and from that point on, the scent of the pies had become strange. The janitor also said he heard Morris speaking strange words while making pies, crying and saying, "They took everything from me. I won't spare any of them." After hearing this, Clara realized that Morris hadn't just taken revenge, he had made a pact with the devil at the time of his death. That night, the team returned to Morris Pie's shop. They descended into the underground room and found a dark chamber where strange symbols were etched onto the stone floor. In the center of the symbols was a small furnace with a pie-making bowl placed on top. Inside the bowl, some things had dried out and turned stone-like, yet still emitted a scent. Suddenly, the air became heavy. The familiar but terrifying smell of pies spread through the room. The team realized that they had made a mistake. Suddenly, Tommy heard an odd noise and moved toward the furnace. He reached out to touch something inside the bowl. At that moment, black smoke poured from the furnace, and Tommy collapsed, screaming. The scent of pies intensified around his lifeless body. The team fled from the room in fear, but Tommy's death shattered their resolve. Ella, Louis, and Clara realized that the only way to break the curse was to find the incantation and give peace to Morris's soul. But they didn't know what awaited them in the next phase of their quest. Tommy's death left Clara, Ella, and Louis filled with dread, but it also strengthened their resolve. They realized that if they didn't break the curse and uncover the mystery of Morris's recipe book and the underground room, their own deaths would be inevitable. Clara decided they needed to go to the town's old archives to find more information about Morris Pie's shop and the events surrounding his death. While working in the archives, they discovered that the fire at Morris's shop wasn't an accident after all. Some of his competitors who had stolen his recipe had also met strange deaths. They found a burnt piece of newspaper that read, "Morris Pie Shop Fire Mystery." The owner Morris's remains were never found. However, on that night, 3 other local business owners met unusual deaths. Each had reportedly smelled the scent of pies. They realized that Morris hadn't just cursed his competitors, his spirit had started taking revenge through the recipe itself. They returned to the priest, who informed them that Morris had used an ancient force to create his pie recipe. This force had given him the power to exact revenge on his rivals. However, after his death, this power had turned into a curse, which had spread throughout the town. The priest gave them a solution. To break the curse, they must correctly interpret the incantation in Morris's recipe book, but first, they must put Morris's spirit to rest. The steps to appease Morris's spirit were: 1. The crimes of the competitors Morris sought revenge on must be exposed to the town. 2. The pie furnace in the underground room must be destroyed. 3. The final incantation in the recipe book must be correctly spoken aloud. The priest warned them, if the incantation is spoken incorrectly, or if Morris's spirit fights back, the curse will become even more dangerous. Determined, Clara and her team decided to return to Morris Pie Shop under the cover of night, fully prepared. Ella brought a book on ancient languages to help understand the incantation, and Louis brought tools to secure the path inside the shop. They returned to the underground room, but this time they went deeper and discovered a hidden chamber. In the center of the chamber was a stone altar, on which lay a piece of pie. Surrounding the pie was slowly forming black smoke, darkening the entire room. Clara immediately understood this piece of pie was the source of Morris's power. Suddenly, a chilling sound echoed, and Morris's shadowy figure appeared beside the altar. His eyes glowed with an eerie light. He stared at them and said, "Why have you come here?" "This curse is my revenge. I won't let anyone survive." Clara, summoning all her courage, replied, "We've come to reveal your truth, Morris. But you must find peace." They began reading the incantation from the recipe book. As they did, Morris's spirit grew more violent. The walls of the chamber trembled, and the scent of pies intensified. With Ella's help, Clara managed to correctly pronounce the final line of the incantation. As the incantation ended, the piece of pie ignited in flames, turning to ash. Morris's shadowy figure slowly started to fade away. In the final moments, Morris's spirit whispered, "You have revealed the truth, but this recipe will never be safe." With those final words, the curse was broken, and Morris's spirit was finally laid to rest. The pie shop was no longer a place of terror, but the lingering words left Clara and her team with a new sense of foreboding. Some mysteries, once uncovered, can never truly be erased. Though Morris's spirit gradually faded under the influence of the incantation, Clara and her team knew that the curse hadn't been fully broken. The smell of the pie still lingered in the remaining parts of the underground room. Following the priest's instructions, the only way to end the curse was to destroy the furnace. Although the piece of pie on the altar had been destroyed, the abnormal smell from the furnace still filled the air. Clara and Louis ventured deeper into the room and noticed some symbols near the furnace. These symbols resembled the ones they'd seen before, but this time they discovered something new. Beside the furnace was a small stone box. The inscription on the box read, "My vengeance does not end here. The scent of my pie will carry the eternal testimony of my name." Opening the box, they found a small glass jar containing a black liquid. Ella realized that this was the special ingredient Morris had used for his pie. As they attempted to destroy the furnace, a remnant of Morris's spirit emerged in the form of smoke. The smoke swirled around them and ominously spoke, "You cannot do this. My vengeance will not end." Morris's shadowy figure pulled Louis toward the furnace. Louis screamed, "Destroy the furnace." "I'll try to stop it." Clara and Ella, with no other choice, threw the glass jar into the furnace. Immediately, a blinding flash of light erupted from the furnace, shaking the entire room. The shadowy figure tried to drag Louis in, but as the furnace collapsed, Morris's remaining power was completely destroyed. Louis was freed but fell unconscious. After the furnace was destroyed, the smoke gradually dissipated. Morris's voice was heard. "You have stopped my vengeance. Now I can find peace. But destroy the recipe book, or it will bring danger once again." Clara held the book in her hands. The priest had instructed them to destroy it, but Clara considered it an important historical document, a symbol of human greed and revenge. Instead of destroying it entirely, she kept a page from the book where the special incantation was written. With that, the curse of Morris's pie shop was finally lifted. The deaths caused by the pie's scent ceased, and the bakery was closed for good. So stay with us by subscribing to our channel, and if you like the video, like it and comment on my opinion. Thank you. Be well.